Just after the new year began, while most of the city was still asleep, a quiet emergency unfolded inside one of San Francisco's most recognizable hotels. Before sunrise, first responders rushed to the Fairmont after reports of a medical situation on an upper floor. By the time it was over, a 34-year-old woman had been declared dead at the scene. Her name wasn't immediately released, details were scarce, and authorities were careful with their wording. But as reports started to line up across major outlets, one detail changed how people saw the story. The woman was believed to be Victoria Jones, the daughter of an Oscar-winning Hollywood icon. And despite a clear timeline and multiple agencies involved, what actually happened that morning remains largely unexplained. Just before 3 a.m. on New Year's Day, emergency crews were dispatched to the Fairmont, San Francisco, after a call reporting a medical situation inside the hotel. Fire department units arrived first, followed closely by police officers, moving through the quiet halls while most guests were still unaware anything was wrong. Inside, paramedics located an adult woman and attempted life-saving measures, but it quickly became clear the situation was beyond recovery. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Authorities did not release a name at that moment, referring only to an unnamed individual as they secured the area and documented the incident. There was no immediate chaos, no signs of a struggle, and nothing to suggest an active threat inside the hotel. Yet the timing, the location, and the lack of information left an uneasy silence behind. And that silence would soon be filled as reporters and investigators began piecing together who the woman was and how she ended up there. In the hours that followed, officials remained cautious, avoiding names and limiting public statements. But behind the scenes, law enforcement sources were already connecting the dots. TMZ was the first outlet to report that the woman found dead at the Fairmont was believed to be Victoria Jones, citing information from authorities familiar with the case. Shortly after, NBC Bay Area reported that a police source also believed the woman to be Victoria, even as official channels continued using careful, unnamed language. That gap between what was being reported and what was formally confirmed only intensified attention around the case. Multiple agencies acknowledged the response, the location, and the time, but stopped short of publicly identifying her. As the reports spread, the focus shifted almost instantly from a routine medical response to the sudden loss of someone tied to one of Hollywood's most recognizable names. And with that shift came a wave of questions no one could yet answer. As more details surfaced, authorities began clarifying what they could, and just as importantly, what they couldn't. Police confirmed that officers responded to the Fairmont, met with paramedics, and officially pronounced an adult woman dead at the scene. According to sources cited by NBC Bay Area, investigators do not believe foul play was involved. No immediate threat was identified, and nothing suggested the situation was the result of an altercation. What remains unclear is the most critical detail, the cause. Officials have said that determination is now in the hands of the medical examiner, with no timeline given for when answers might come. The hotel declined to comment, and representatives for Tommy Lee Jones did not issue a statement. So while the timeline of the emergency is clear, the reason it happened is not. And that gap between certainty and silence is what continues to draw attention to the case. Long before her name appeared in headlines for this reason, Victoria Jones was known to many as a quiet presence on the edge of Hollywood. She was the daughter of Tommy Lee Jones and his former wife, Kimberlia Claughley, growing up around an industry most people only ever see from a distance. While her father built a reputation as one of the most respected actors of his generation, Victoria experienced that world from the inside, not as an outsider looking in. She stepped in front of the camera at a young age, appearing alongside her father in Men in Black 2, followed by a role in The Three Burials of Melquiades Estrada, a film he both directed and starred in. She also made a brief appearance on the teen drama One Tree Hill. These were not the beginnings of a high-profile career, but moments that tied her, however briefly, to the spotlight. And then, just as quietly as she entered that world, she began to step away from it. As Victoria moved into adulthood, she largely stepped away from the glare of cameras and red carpets. Unlike her father, whose name has been attached to some of Hollywood's most iconic films, her life became quieter, private, and far less public. Those early acting roles remained her most visible moments on screen, but after that she chose a path out of the spotlight, living largely out of view of the media and fans. That contrast between her father's fame and her own relative anonymity only heightened curiosity when news of her death emerged. For years, she had moved through life without the constant scrutiny that comes with a household name, and yet suddenly the world was looking for answers about her final hours. It was a reminder that not every story tied to Hollywood comes with fame, attention, or explanation. Some lives unfold quietly until tragedy brings them into focus. Almost immediately after news of Victoria's death spread, speculation began to swirl online. Social media posts, forums, and comment threads filled with theories about what might have happened, fueled by her family name and her past legal troubles. But it's important to separate what's been confirmed from what's being guessed. Authorities have stated clearly that foul play is not suspected, and no evidence at the scene points to a struggle or criminal activity. The cause of death has not been released, and the investigation is ongoing with the medical examiner. Any claims beyond that remain unverified. While it's natural for people to speculate, the only details that can be relied on are those confirmed by police, fire department personnel, and credible news outlets. For now, the facts are limited, and the rest remains a story still unfolding. Victoria Jones's story ends abruptly, at least as far as the public knows. She was just 34, taken far too soon, leaving a life that had moved quietly away from the spotlight. For her family, the shock is private and immense, while for the world watching, it's a reminder of how little we can truly know about someone's life behind closed doors. Her passing leaves questions unanswered: the exact circumstances, the moments leading up to that morning, and the cause that authorities are now tasked with determining. It's a story without resolution, a life cut short, and a family navigating grief in silence. In the end, what we see in the headlines is only part of the picture, and some stories don't come with neat explanations. Victoria's life, like her passing, is a quiet reminder that not every loss comes with clarity, and sometimes the mystery is the only thing that remains.